There's a secret most women don't know about men, and it's this. Men don't fall in love with the best woman. They fall in love with the woman who makes them feel the most. It's not about being prettier than the others. It's not about being more available, more agreeable, or more perfect. In fact, sometimes it's the opposite. The woman he obsesses over, the one he can't forget, she's not always the easiest, the sweetest, or the most logical choice. But she's the one who stands out. Emotionally, energetically, psychologically. And the reason she stands out is because of how she makes him feel, about himself. Let that sink in. Because this is the psychology of attraction most people don't understand. Section 1. What men are really attracted to. Let's begin with this. Men don't fall in love logically. They fall in love emotionally. And their emotions aren't triggered by just beauty or kindness. Those are lovely, but they don't create obsession. What really triggers male attraction, deep, gripping, unforgettable desire, is emotional imprinting. That means, he remembers how he felt in your presence. Your energy, your confidence, your silence, your unpredictability, left a psychological mark. This is why the nice girl, who gives everything too soon often gets ghosted, while the woman who is emotionally rich, slightly mysterious, and deeply in tune with herself, becomes unforgettable. Because men don't crave more perfection. They crave contrast. They crave emotional texture. And the woman who stands out in love is the one who creates a roller coaster of feelings, not through drama, but through her depth, her boundaries, her ability to challenge him emotionally while still remaining feminine, graceful, and composed. Section 2. The power of emotional contrast. Let's go deeper. Most women have been told to be nice. Be easygoing. Be available. Be low maintenance. But that's how you become forgettable. Because when you're always predictable, always agreeable, always emotionally flat, there's no contrast. And without contrast, there's no emotional spike. And without emotional spikes, there's no imprint. Contrast is what makes you memorable. Think about it. Emotional contrast is the difference between warmth and coolness, between presence and absence, between softness and edge, between availability and mystery. A man remembers the woman who could melt him with her gaze, and then disappear for 3 days without explanation. Not to play games, but because she's truly busy, self-focused, self-possessed. She's not trying to control his attention. She simply doesn't need it to feel whole. This contrast makes her addictive. Because he can't fully predict her. She doesn't perform for him. She exists for herself. And in that emotional unpredictability, he becomes invested. Section 3. The psychology of emotional imprinting. Let's talk psychology. The human brain is wired to seek out what feels novel, stimulating, and slightly uncertain. When a man experiences you as emotionally layered, unpredictable, and rich in presence, he becomes emotionally imprinted. You're no longer just a woman. You're a feeling, a frequency, a memory. This is why the most unforgettable women don't always say much. They speak through their energy. Their gaze, their silence, their refusal to over-explain, their ability to hold discomfort, their calm when he tries to push buttons. Because men imprint not when you chase them or give them everything. They imprint when they work for your emotional attention. When they experience you as slightly out of reach, not because you're playing games, but because you're playing life at a higher level. You're not waiting by your phone. You're living, and your world is beautiful, with or without him. Section 4. High self-worth is magnetic. Let's be clear. High self-worth is not arrogance. It's not about being cold or playing hard to get. It's about knowing what you're worth, and never abandoning yourself for a moment of male attention. Because here's the truth. Men respect what they have to earn. If he didn't have to earn your time, your energy, or your intimacy, he might take it, but he won't value it. He might enjoy it, but he won't obsess over it. You stand out in love when you respect your own energy more than you want his attention. When you're willing to walk away rather than tolerate half-effort. When you have high standards, not because you're demanding, but because you understand your value. This creates an energetic tension. A space where he feels both drawn in and challenged. And that space, that polarity, that's where masculine desire is born. Section 5. Silence, space, and emotional mystery. Let's talk about the most underused feminine power, silence. So many women over-explain, overshare, over-apologize. But the woman who can sit in silence, who doesn't fill every pause with nervous chatter, who can hold space with elegance. She activates a deep, primal desire in men. Because silence is powerful. It leaves space for him to feel. It leaves room for mystery. And mystery is the oxygen of masculine obsession. If he knows everything about you too, son, there's no chase. If he feels no emotional space, there's no curiosity. But when you move with calm self-possession, when you speak with intention, when you leave some questions unanswered, he leans in. Not just physically, but emotionally. He begins to wonder about you. And when a man is wondering about you, he's investing in you. He's thinking about you when you're not around. That's where the emotional imprint starts to form. Section 6. Feminine energy and the art of being. Now, let's shift into feminine energy. To truly stand out in love, you must shift from doing to being. Feminine power isn't about chasing, fixing, proving, or pleasing. It's about being so deeply rooted in your self-worth, in your softness, in your boundaries, that you become a gravitational force. The feminine woman doesn't perform. She doesn't rush. She doesn't chase. She allows. She attracts. She becomes irresistible not through effort, but through embodiment. She knows her presence is enough. She knows her emotional depth is valuable. She knows her energy is a gift, not something to be given to just anyone, but something a man must earn. And this shifts everything. Because when you stop over-giving, when you stop over-explaining, when you stop seeking external validation, you begin to radiate. You become that rare woman who commands attention without trying. And that is unforgettable. Section 7. Creating emotional depth and connection. Finally, let's talk about connection. Real connection doesn't come from oversharing or trauma dumping. It comes from emotional presence. From knowing yourself so well that you can hold space for someone else without losing your center. Men are magnetized by women who can hold emotional tension. Women who can hear something uncomfortable without breaking. Women who can express truth with softness. Women who can feel deeply without becoming reactive. This creates emotional safety. And paradoxically, emotional safety is what allows him to feel vulnerable, open, and eventually, deeply in love. Because love isn't built on drama. It's built on emotional resonance. And when your presence makes him feel safe, intrigued, challenged, respected, and emotionally seen, you're not just attractive. You're unforgettable. The imprint. So remember this. If you want to stand out in love, don't try to be the best. Don't try to compete. Don't try to prove. Be the woman who feels like an experience. Be the woman who moves slowly, who speaks with intention, who doesn't try to be liked, but instead, radiates from within. Be the woman who creates emotional contrast, who knows when to lean in and when to disappear. Who gives with warmth, but protects her soul. Who lets a man earn her attention, and values herself enough to walk away from anything less than devotion. Because when you become a feeling, you become unforgettable. And that is what makes a man fall deeply, hopelessly, and obsessively in love.